Now, rankings compiled by the Statistics Research Information Management and Public Relations Division of the Ministry of Education indicates top 4 senior high schools fell below the ratings for 2013 WASSCE. Prempeh and Fansipra Machimota, Presec, Ebri Girls are all out of the top 10 schools. So what will make a relatively unknown school which fielded 56 candidates lead the pack against some of the schools which fielded 744? What is happening to our educational sector, especially if the so-called big schools are falling below standard? How do we quickly remedy the situation? We'll seek answers right here on today's big story. My name is Stephen Anti. If you went to Prempeh College in Fansipra Machimota, Presec, Ebri Girls, you were rated intelligent and privileged. Well, I never went to any of those schools. Most parents would move heavy just to gain admissions for their wards because of the success rates chalked over the years. However, a report released by the Statistics Research Information Management and Public Relations Division of the Ghana Education Service indicates such schools are gradually falling below standard. The West Africa Senior Secondary School Certificate Exam 2013 report released indicates that Mount Carmel Girls Senior High School in the Brunahafo region topped the 2013 WASSCE by scoring 100% in the examination. The school was followed by Wesley Girls Senior High School in Cape Coast, which had 99.6%, and the Tepa Senior High School with 99.55% placed third. Now, all the 56 candidates presented by Mount Carmel Senior High School had between A1 and C6. Given the second 100%, the school, I beg your pardon, 100% score. However, in the case of Wesley Girls, they fielded 741 out of the 74 candidates presented, and these candidates scored between A1 and A6, therefore scoring the school 99.6%. The rankings of the performance of these schools also indicated that Koforidua Senior High Technical School scored 99.39% and it took 4th place. Kede Day Senior High Technical School scored 99.34% in 5th place, and the St. James Seminary had 99.29% and placed 6th. Now, the news is that the Adisado College took the 7th place with 99.05%. Maranatha Business School took the 8th place with 99.02%, while the St. Francis Xavier Seminary took the 9th place with 98.99%, and the Ghana Lebanon Islamic Senior High School placed 10th with 98.73%. Top schools, including Fansipra School, Ebri Girls, Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, Prempeh College, Accra Academy and Achimota School placed 39th, 44th, 52nd, 54th, 59th and 79th, respectively, out of the total 716 schools which were rated. So we're going to get some answers, and Anis Hafa, who is an educationist, is now joining us on the telephone for some analysis of this. Good evening, sir, and thanks for joining us on today's big story.
Good evening. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. I mean, I'm smiling because these ratings sound a bit flawed for me in the first place, because the Senior High School Carmel, which fielded 56 candidates, placed first. I mean, 100% against Wesley Girls High School, which fielded 744, for example. How come that a school which fielded 56 is leading the pack against one which fielded 744? Does this not look flawed for you?
Well, you know, there are many ways to look at statistics. I mean, first of all, I'm very pleased that schools in the Brunahafo area, like Mount Carmel and also Senior High School, are doing so well. And also Koforidua Tech also did very well in the eastern region. What that tells me is that there's potential in every district. Like the central region or the Ashanti region do not have a monopoly on good scores.
So
However,
what you're saying is this is good, right? This is good,
good
for the
because they
image
have
of
the
these schools.
Exactly. I only wish that some of the schools in the Upper West and Upper East and Northern region were part of that pack that did so well. But I also want to address the numbers. You know, the numbers are very important. If you look at Mount Carmel Girls Senior High School with 56 students, as opposed to Wesley Girls that have 744.
Exactly.
But some of the schools like in Francim and the rest of them, these are, they're sporting about 1,400 students. That's a huge difference. I mean, for me as an educator, I would rather have let's say, present the 6 students than 1,400. But having said that, the time has come, though, that we begin to uplift the standards of all the schools in the country.
Yeah.
Every person in Ghana who is in school is very important. A pupil, a student, a university graduate are all important.
Right.
So my suggestion, though, is that the time has come where we have to also begin to use ICT applications for preparing young people. And by that, that's what I mean. There are 3 basic things that we have to do to elevate standards in this country. Other countries are doing the same thing.
Anis, let's just wait a bit and look at the scenario of these top schools. I mean, if you take Wesley Girls, St. Augustine's, and Franciscan College, these are very old schools which still have their old infrastructure in place. So if a school like Carmel, which is fairly new, has modern facilities, possibly it could be making learning easier and better in these new schools than the old schools. Shouldn't we be looking at it that way too?
Yeah, but okay, we can look at it that way. But you see, it will be very interesting to see that if we have 56 students at Carmel, then the supervision is not as rigid as supervising 3-4 times that. I mean, not even 3-4
that
times.
number.
If you're looking at 1,000 students,
yes,
supervising 1,400 students is a big deal. But what I was saying is that there has to be a way where the big schools can continue to do well. And we have to begin to look at ICT methodologies as far as schemes of work that have to be prepared properly, instructional strategies that have to be prepared properly, and also the availability at all times of teaching and learning materials. These things are very important. And the time has come in this country. For me as an educator, I want every school in Ghana to do well. I went to France myself, and frankly, I was disappointed that we're 39. Or the Franco College was.
But you went to one of the big schools, so you would like them to be doing well. But perhaps the big schools are losing their monopolies to the small ones.
You see, this is a wake-up call. You see, if you look at the top schools, the top schools take for granted that they are so good that they might not have to do the preparation like they used to. I mean, when I was in France, my goodness, supervision was key. But anyway, having said that, it's also time for the best, the schools that used to top in the past, not to rest on their laurels. You know what they say. If you are not progressing, you are regressing.
That's right.
These are the things that we have to begin to look at. The other thing, too, that I would suggest is that the supervision in these schools have to be taken more seriously now. If you teach in one of the schools, you might assume that your students will do good naturally. But things are beginning to change now, and the school management itself in Ghana has to begin to be updated in more ways than one.
Right.
For me, when I go to schools to do training of the teachers, I begin to see that we are not really using the opportunities at our disposal because they are there. Every kid in Ghana must do well. I'd like in France to do well. My children went to Achimota. I'd like them to do well as well. But people have to work for it. These things don't happen in absentia. We have to begin to do these things and do them properly. But ICT applications for teaching and learning materials are key. And the other thing, too, is that now the learning has to be learner-centered so that the children themselves, the students themselves, are part of the group that is preparing the teacher and learner materials. It doesn't have to be just the teachers. Things are changing so fast in the world, and we have to keep up with these standards.
So really, I mean, You've said quite a lot, but let's begin to map out what I know it's too early to begin to think there was a problem here or there was a problem there. You've mentioned that teaching strategies and ICT-based approaches should be adopted in the big schools. But overall, what do you think the problem is? Are we losing focus in training our children very well, or we are focusing too much on preparing them to just pass examinations, really?
That is a very good question. You see, things are changing around the world. The United States, for example, I taught in the U.S. for about 10 years. And there was now a tendency to move away from teaching to standards and to bring in elements of creativity. I mean, this has to be a national debate. Many times when we begin to test our students in Ghana, we use what we call the lower thinking skills. I mean, it's like state 4 reasons. Give 5, draw a repeat the conclusion of someone's past work, and that sort of thing. These are all called the cognitive domain. But now we have to bring in the affective, which means that we have to now begin to educate our children so that they develop curiosity to find things out for themselves. We have to teach them perseverance. We have to teach them to be creative in their thinking processes. These are the new things that are really coming into education now, all over the world. In fact, in parts of Finland, school architecture itself is being redesigned so that education now is not passing standardized tests. In fact, there are some countries that even don't do the test at all because what they want to see is what is the service that a particular student can provide. You are graded on that one. What is the product that you can begin to produce? What are the new thinking that others are not thinking that you are thinking? Things are changing so fast that if we continue focusing on standardized type examinations, it's one way to do an assessment. But there are other superior assessments that focus on service, perseverance, how you can come out of your the institution and be a person who is a doer. These are some of the things that are new.
So
and we need a national dialogue on this to bring some of these things to bear.
Right.
We cannot be doing things in the same old way again. Now we want students to be entrepreneurs, but you don't become entrepreneur by passing a standardized examination. You become entrepreneur by learning how to solve problems and packaging your own methodology so that whatever you can use to solve a problem can be scaled in some way. These are the challenges of the 21st century.
Right.
And Ghana needs to really come up with something different, frankly.
Right. So let's take, for example, the 56 who were fielded for Mount Carmel. And then if we randomly chose, let's say, 56 from Wesley Girls Senior High School, do you honestly think that both, now the pack, 56 from each of these schools will make a good appearance in our universities and perhaps perform to the same standards?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Look, I'm sure if we were to screen, now check this out, 56 students that top the in Carmel Girls High School, for example, if we were to screen 56 students from Prempeh College, they'll be equally as good. If you screen the top 56 from Mpansipim, they'll be equally as good. If you were to screen the top 56 from Achimota, Pristec, or Abus Girls, they'll all be equally good. But then, of course, the numbers, cannot lose track of that. The numbers are very important. I would rather, like I said earlier, I would rather train 56 students for an examination than 1,400, So these are things that we have to begin to look at. But on the positive side, there are young people in this country that have such great potential, I mean, to score these high scores is not an easy thing. So the mindset is prepared for the future, and I hope that now we can begin to groom our young people a certain way where they are now problem solvers. Not just to pick information.
I mean, you've said that several times that we should begin to train our young ones to think solution, think about solving problems. But how do we do that? Do we do that by changing educational curricula or changing approaches to teaching or what? I mean, how do we begin to solve this as a country?
All of the above. If you look at a GES syllabus, for example, there's always a component that is practical. For example, when we do assessment, writing essay is a form of assessment. doing, how do you call it, multiple choice is a form of assessment. Doing quizzes is a form of assessment. But the most important assessment is the project work. You know, if you look at the curriculum, there's science, there's chemistry, there's physics, there's mathematics. But to what end are those courses being taught? That is the key. At the end of the day, the important thing is not that you've been able to pass a test. You've been able to use the information at your disposal. That makes you a better person than having to go through 4 years of university, coming out with a certificate in your armpit, but functionally illiterate. That is the strength. We need to really look at education in this country and begin to now define it with a purpose where young people come out and they are not necessarily looking for jobs that they can never find, but they are even in teams. They can begin to do things for themselves. The other thing I'll also mention is that if you look at the Harvard Graduate School of Education, for example, or even people in first year students in Harvard, they've introduced what they call the Innovation Lab. The Innovation Lab simply means that we are putting like minds together and define a particular problem that has to be solved. And these are the people who are going to do it. And let me tell you, fantastic things are happening in the international education arena. And I hope that Ghana can be drawn into it. But what that will mean is that the teacher training centers themselves have to be geared towards a new way of education. That they themselves don't have to be theorists all the way through.
Yeah.
We need practice. We need people who specialize as practitioners. This is the trend of the future.
It does appear, Mr. Haffer, that it does appear from what you're saying that we have totally lost it as a country. Because if we look at the challenges we're facing now, there are problems on the front of the teacher training colleges. There are problems with paying allowances for graduate teachers. Everybody has a problem. It does appear that we are unable to solve. So if we're not solving the problems that the teachers have, how then are we able as a country to begin to think about redirecting our training modules to make sure that the graduate we bring out from our country is well equipped for the 21st century?
That is the question. But, you know, there are things that we can start right away. You know, if we wait to solve all the problems of the world, then we might be lacking behind a bit. But whatever that we have now, we need to develop a mindset. It's very important. The work that I do is where I train teachers who have come out of the training colleges and so on. But then you realize that it's all based on theory. You know, the other thing is that teaching theories is much easier than teaching practice. Because when you teach practice, you need equipment. We need the right kind of education for the people who are doing the training themselves. And all of that takes money, it takes effort, and it takes vision. These are the things that need to come out in the education system right now. I will also tell you that people tend to be disillusioned. The teachers tend to be disillusioned in the kind of system that we have right now. Because the purpose is not that well defined where you begin to see a positive end result. You know, people will say, look, I'm going to put someone in the university for 4 years. When they come out, we don't even know what they're going to do. Some of them are still staying at home because they can't venture out on their own. Some have study courses that are not relevant for industry. All of that are particular kinds of problems that we have to begin to address. But the point that I will make is that now we have to pull in the corporations. You know, when we talk about corporate social responsibility, corporations have to be now very visible in the kind of education that we visit on our young people in this country. They cannot be aloof and then complain that the young people who came cannot function in our institutions.
So how can they be pulled into the equation? I mean, corporate entities want people who can solve problems. So if we don't have the quality that they want, then it just go back to the same problem, the same cyclic problem.
You know, there has to be, now check this out, there has to be a department in each of our universities that are out there feeling the pulses of the corporations and sharing the course content with the corporation themselves and see how we can begin to redefine some of the existing courses that we have. It's very important.
Right.
You see, and then the other thing is that a lot of the people who teach, you know, when we talk about lecturers and professors and the rest of it is good. But now we need to bring the practitioners. If it means that sometimes, somewhere along the line, we bring people who are in banking, who are in insurance, who are in engineering, who are in, people who are doing hands-on things, we want to pull them in. So that come and share your expertise with them. The practical aspects of
right.
it.
Mr. Hafa, I beg your pardon. I'll have you hold briefly. I've just been informed that the Deputy Education Minister, Alexander Treme, is joining us on the telephone. So we'll keep engaging and we'll hold you. So we'll speak to him briefly also. Mr. Treme, thanks for joining us on today's big story, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity, my brother.
So I've been looking through this report, which puts Mount Carmel top of the WASSCE rankings in Ghana, and Wesley Girls second. Well, what does this say to you as Deputy Education Minister? I'm sure this falls within your jurisdiction. Is it good news or bad news? How do you see this report?
Yeah, thank you very much, and let me say hello to your listeners. I've gone through the report. And one thing I deduced from the report is that no matter where you are, if you are able to, if there's a good learning atmosphere and teachers are prepared to give out their best, and there's serious discipline in the school, you can make it.
So you are suggesting that those are the reasons why the Bruna Ahafo region schools put up a good showing this year?
Yes, I know of Mount Carmel. You know, I was the municipal chief executive when we all tried that it was absorbed into a public stream. Let me say they used to admit second-grade students. I'm saying second-grade students because it used to be a private institution established by the Catholic Church. So if children are not getting any admission anywhere, they come there and because they have a serious and hard-working headmistress in the person of one Sister Chika, a Nigerian, and there's a serious learning atmosphere there. There's a serious discipline in that very school. And if you go there this time, you will even think that there's nobody there. They take their learning seriously, and everything is work according to schedule. So I think these are the attributes of Mount Carmel, which I know personally.
And do you not also see that this is an indication that the so-called top schools are not doing too well now? Actually, perhaps they're falling below the standards that we require to move forward.
I will not conclude that way because if you look at all other schools and look at the sheer numbers, they also perform credibly very well.
Right. There have also been suggestions from the educationists we spoke to a while ago that there is need for us as a country to begin to reorient ourselves and make ICTC-based education more prominent in our teaching and learning approaches. How is your government pursuing this agenda for secondary school education in the country?
Yeah, that is why we are taking ICT very seriously. Just this morning, I opened a 2-day workshop for the technical team, which is coming out with a policy for adoption by the ministry. And then the final stakeholders conference will come up around April this year. And they will come out with the policy which the ministry will implement. Whilst we wait, we have received a number of suggestions and a lot of people who are also coming out with ideas which we'll put into this policy document for implementation.
What about beginning to train our students to solve problems? I mean, the education has raised concerns about preparing students to just pass exams, which does not equip them properly in solving problems when they go out into the world. What about that aspect of retraining for our young ones?
Yeah, we are also doing that. If you read the policy document which they are formulating, we want them to come out, use ICT as a career path so that they can do so many things with it. And that is why I'm saying by the end of the period, when the policy document is ready, we'll be able to know the direction which we want to go as a nation.
Right, we're very grateful. So I'll quickly wrap up with you, Haniz Hafa. We're grateful, Mr. Alex Tremantin, Deputy Education Minister. Haniz Hafa is an educationist, is still online with us. So Haniz, I'll give you just about 30 seconds to 1 minute to wrap up. So moving on, I mean, we're not comparing the relatively unknown schools to the top class schools. As parents who have children who are going into high schools, should we be worried that the top schools are not exactly showing strength now?
Yeah, it's like they can't all be first. But at the end of the day, I think, like I said earlier, all standards have to be up.
All standards have to be up.
And especially, we also have to bring in the Northern region, Upper West, and Upper East. And I'm glad Brona Hapu is doing well and so on. So I think that's what we need to do now.
Right.
We have to begin to use, and, there are ways of improving test scores. I mean, even if you stick with a standardized examination purposes, we can still raise standards. But the important thing is the question that you raised and others be talking about is that when our young people come out at the age of 16, 17, 18, they should be able to solve problems.
Yeah.
The Americans have what we call the community college concept. After high school, 2 years after high school, there's a particular profession that you can begin. You don't have to even finish 4 years of university,
right?
So that you are a practitioner in a particular aspect. You are working, you are making a living, and in fact, you cannot go to the university while you are working and using that money to pay your tuition. So many new things are happening.
Right.
For me, my commitment to what I do is that we have some of the brightest kids right here in Ghana.
Right.
But for some reason, we clip their wings. We are not able to inspire them properly. We are not able to redirect their energy in a positive way where they can see themselves as do it. But that is the issue. But then the people who are doing the teaching themselves have to be re-equipped to begin to see life in a little different way.
Yes.
That we're not just going to pump theories upon theories upon theories on young people, but hands-on action.
Hands-on action.
Problem solving. I
Right.
think that is the way of the future for the 21st century.
We're very grateful, Haniz Hafa, as an educator. We're very grateful that you could make time to join us here on today's Big Story. And thanks to Alex Treme, who is Deputy Education Minister. My name is Stephen Enti, and it's been great having you here. On on today's Big Story, I beg your pardon, we'll be right back with the interactive segment. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's time for interactive. Hey,
hi.
What's up?
We day inside.
We day like we know
We
day.
day like we know
Is
day.
there doomsday in your house?
I don't want to talk
You don't
about
want
that
to talk,
again
I
because the
know.
last time I spoke about it, my lights went off.
So what's trending?
We're talking about Aite Powers, who says his spiritual father has been talking to him.
Would you skip work if your pastor asked you to?
Steve, I'd like to answer this question at the end of this conversation.
Okay, let's hear then.
Right, so the much anticipated April 18 boxing bout between two arch rivals in the country, Aite Powers and Bukom Bankung, will not come off. Aite Powers says God has communicated to him through his spiritual father, Prophet TB Joshua, not to fight on April 18.
Of course, it's not that I pull out or I run away, but the thing is, I can't do things on my own strength. You understand me? I know the fight is almost next month. It's really small, so I have to travel and just go and ask for prayers for my godfather. And I reach there and my godfather let me know that I don't have to fight next month. So I let them know that they can postpone them, but not next month I can't fight. You understand me? So if people are saying maybe I run away or this, me, I don't do things on my own. I'm just looking at God. So if God, Father said, God said I should not fight, that's on the 18th, and I let them know, and they are saying whatever they want to say. I don't have a problem about that.
My name is Gladys Osei Oredu. Welcome to JN Interactive. Like Steve asked, would you skip work if your spiritual father asked you to? Well, you could tell me that one through our social media platforms, facebook.com/joynewsontv, twitter.com/joynewsontv, and the handles are at joynewsontv and #JNInteractiveGH. Email us via joynews.im@multitvworld.com. Well, so it's all over social media. People are angry over the decision of Aite Powers not to engage in the much-awaited bout between him and local champion Bukom Banku, which was scheduled for April 18, just 21 days away. Well, so Aite Powers recently returned from Nigeria, where he underwent deliverance at the Synagogue Church of All Nations, founded by TB Joshua. He was said to have been delivered of demonic possessions that have frustrated his boxing career, but no one foresaw him pulling out of the much-touted and usually hyped boxing bout, which seems to hold the potential to breathe some life into the dormant boxing calendar in the country. So Aite Powers obviously shocked many and disappointed even many more with his decision. Let's have a playback of when the two signed the contract to fight.
Today we are here to sign the contract for the much-awaited fight between Bukom Banku and Aite Powers. Actually, we scheduled initially the fight for 26th of April, but due to my inquiries from the National Sports Authority, there will be a match on 27th year, and it will affect the date. So we need to shift a day earlier. So we are promoting this fight on the 25th of April, which is Friday. We want to sign a contract first, and if we get the green light from any of the sanctioning body that we've written to, like the WBA, WBO, their Pan-African titles, so that we can put it online.
People know me that I'm a big popular man. The Ghana boss, I'm #1. This is my brother, Aite Powers. In my picking, I'm teaching him in my area. And this time he say he go beat me. I don't understand that. Aite Powers, the bossing be small. He don't know nothing about the bossing.
Ability without mentality is barbarism. Bukom Banku can think he's big, he's whatever it is. I'm going to stop Bukom Banku 6th round. He said he's going to stop me 7th round, but we are not going to fight up to 7th round.
Right, so the bout promoter Alex Ntiamwa says he is disappointed about Aite Powers' decision to bow out of the fight, but he is in talks with managers of both boxers to solve the situation.
You know, this fight is much anticipated by boxing fans in Ghana, and me also as a promoter. You know, I'm into business, and fights that will generate a lot of interest for people is a fight that I need to go in for. And so I went to the camps of the two boxers to talk to their managers and their advisors.
Right, so earlier this week, after Aite Powers was delivered by TB Joshua, we caught up with Bukom Banku, and this is what he said. Let's listen to him.
I will kill him. He's talking pretty. The time will come, you see the darkness that time cover the sky. Don't worry, Ghanaians. Aite Powers, he's shouting like a Mickey G's. He said TB Joshua. TB Joshua, he don't know nothing. I go beat Aite Powers and I go beat TB Joshua too. We need.
Right, so right after Aite Powers also received his deliverance, Bukom Banku took to Facebook, and this was the comment he posted there. He says, "I am here, Aite is go church for deliverance. He make big mistake, he forgo soa, the baba, not church. Demon is there, Aite hair. He cut him, he be free. You do your hair like that, why demon no go enter you? If soa is not due, I Banku go beat demon away for Aite because Aite is my friend." So that was a Facebook comment Bukom Banku posted. Well, pardon our language, but I hope you managed with it well. So let's also get on WhatsApp and see what some of you have also been sharing with us concerning Aite Powers' deliverance and his withdrawal from the bout. Ruben Griffith says, "Powers is a joke. So with this kind of attitude, who will want to sponsor a local bout again? I don't think any bout will have such a hype again." Thank you, Ruben. Crack Abdul says, "This guy is a coward." Well, that's coming from Crack Abdul Hamza. Ronald Yabwa says, "Fine boy, haha, who say man no day? Monday before Tuesday, Aite has seen that if he should try, he will lose his life. So it's not a surprise that he has pulled out." That's coming from Ronald Yabwa. Prince Nabia Sadat says, "Aite the liar." Right. Okay, so Brown says, "What? What a shock. Aite is afraid of Bukom Banku? I think so. Shame on to you, Aite." That's coming from Brown. Daniel Jacobo says, "Seriously, I am disappointed in Powers. I think Bukom scared him with empty talk. We scared the wolf and advised the goat." Okay, so Daniel Jacobo, thank you. Let's also see what Baba Musa Tamale Aite is also saying. He says, "Powers is a coward boxer, period. Bukom Banku has no challenger." Of course, he says in Ghana he's the #1 boxer. So there is definitely no challenger as of now because Aite has run away. Young Tozi says, look at this man. Oh, I never knew he was such a coward." That's coming from Young Tezzy. Stephen Anointed says he knows what he's up to. That's coming from Stephen Anointed. Well, there's some anointing there. David says Powers is the comedian of the year. To back out at this time, he must be joking. That's coming from David. Right, so let me now read quickly. Let me hit the streets where Sarah is already to find out how people are also reacting to the withdrawal of Aite Powers from the April 18 bout.
Thank you, Gladys. Aite Powers says that God has communicated with him through his spiritual father, TB Joshua, saying that on April 18th, he should not fight Bukom Banku. What do you think about this issue?
My opinion is that I don't know pastors are engaged in boxing. So if the pastors are advising him or it is his own opinion, I can't tell. But I know that maybe he's afraid or he's not ready for the fight.
I hope Bukom Banku, or maybe see that he fight that day, or he's afraid. Maybe you don't want to lose, that people will see that you lose the fight.
Aite Power, why you make that to Ghanaians? You have disappointed Ghanaians. Ghanaians are ready to watch the fight between you and Bukom Banku, and now you say you are not going to fight. Why? You have disappointed Ghanaians. Don't do that again.
But the man is fear. That's true. He's fear because Bukom Banku say go kill him. Because if he fight him, he go training and come back. So he go kill him, bury him. That's why they fear. So he want training to get him to come back. but we go beat him.
Superstition, like I said, is all superstitious belief. He may be a very good Christian, so he believes that fighting will not, maybe, I know it's a thing about pride, ego and stuff, but he doesn't want to fight. You know, it's all about your religion, and he might fight and lose. You know, he might fight and lose, or he might even get killed. But another day, he might take the day and fight, and then he will win. It's all about things you believe. I do not believe that. I do not believe that you must fight at that particular time. There are other times to fight.
Oh no, a pastor cannot put himself into this fight. If they are ready to fight, they have to fight.
I'm going to support IT Power, so I'm interested in IT Power because it's not going to fight on 17th April. We have to supposed to fight on the 18th May. So IT Powers is the whole best boss I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, actually, I think IT Powers, he can't say this issue about the 18th and the fight was going to be on. And I can't believe IT Power is going to say this because they were always there and they have promoted the fight and put a date on it. So he cannot wait and he will say that he can't fight again because his pastor said that he should fight on the on the 18th, what about on May, right? Yeah. The May. He can't say that. He's supposed to be fight.
But IT Powers, the plan is that done is correct. It's correct. It's 100% because it happened in boxing before. You see, so now the boxing, the way it's going on, you have to learn on it to do the way the boxing is going on, the same thing. If he's going to fight right now, the way Pastor has told him, maybe he's going to lose the fight, or maybe when he fights in it, his life going to be miserable. You see, so he have to listen to his pastor. Then when the day has come supposed to fight, there is fight. So it's nice to be nice. So I hope Banku supporters, all Banku fans, they have to understand that fight and boxing, something like that can feel happen at any time.
But all hope is not lost. IT Power says he is prepared to fight Bukom Banku any other day apart from the April 18. So he cannot risk disobeying the wise counsel of his spiritual father who took his inspiration from God. So Powers dismissed assertions that he's simply chickened out of the fight because he's afraid of his opponent. He's definitely not afraid. It's just that April 18 is not a good day for him. Let's see what you also have been sharing with us on Facebook. So if you have just joined us, we are talking IT Power's withdrawal from the much anticipated April 18 boxing bout with him and Bukom Banku, and he says he is withdrawing from that day, but any other day he would go into the fight. And some of you have been sharing your opinions, your views with us here on our Facebook wall. So Ahiamazi Felix says he cannot choose the date for the fight. He must be made to fight on April 18. Ahiamaji, how would we do that? Well, McDonald Badanaku says, what can come, says no more fight. Good for him. Seidu Anas says, if such unreliable cowards who believe in mere mortal prophecies parade in the Ghanaian sporting arena, how will Ghanaians then develop, advertise, seek investment, and get the needed public participation in our local sports? But if TB Joshua can't foresee Aite's defeat, I think he, TB Joshua, should equally be able to avert it. Aite, whoa. Francis Nani Roy says, that powers guy is a coward, a non-lettered, timid coward who deserves to be sued, and I make this plea to the media. This spare us listening to more gibberish from an individual like him. And say to Anas, I bet you TB Joshua has said nothing to this ordinary common coward. So, bro, let's ignore him. Well, George Gilligno says, I'm disappointed in Aite Powers. Nana BJC says, simply put, he has deceived us all. He should not be allowed to speak on the airwaves again. Coward. Judith Gajo says, don't mind him. He's just a coward, afraid to be defeated. Amadou Aremiel says, Bukom Banku all the way. Bernard Orals, well, Goka Albert says, you are lucky. God bless TB Joshua for your life. Like, what a shock will be waiting for you. Others, El Hassan Muhammad Day says, that Aite Powers only wanted popularity and nothing else. Shame Bibi will kill him. Redra Santos says, I'm highly disappointed in Powers. Amatitwa just can't help it. She's laughing throughout. Surajdeen Hassan says, it is absolute cowardice and a sign of defeat, Aite. Emmanuel Kofisafu says, Powers is now powerless. Albert Anefu says, why didn't he consult his powers before pending such date and before seeking public opinion? But thank God he has seen his own defeat, so the boxing authority needs to give the crown to Bukom Banku at all costs. Sumani Jr. Al-Hassan says, ha ha ha, it's quite provoking and funny to see him quiet. Sianka, okay, I can't read the language, forgive me. Yusuf Chibisco says, oh Ghana, what is this? Fifi Fauma Oben says, if God doesn't want him to fight, what can we do as humans? Thomas Edidenfi says, I'm really disappointed for the much anticipated boxing bout call-off. In fact, Aite be fear boy, not even a man. Aite no get vim. Hamid Babakari says, power pa. Why this late? Zachariah Efa says, is God interested in boxing? Powers they run. Jerry Opal says, God has spoken. Thank God the fight didn't come on because they could disgrace Ghana boxing. Bukom Banku was going to win the fight. Patricia Usweje, that's your opinion. Yusuf is just asking how. Francis Jr. Freeman says, Aite powerless. Chia. Cashman says, what can come can come. Adage by Aite Powers. So he hasn't taken me aback. Banku told him not to try him. Such a letdown by Powers. Richardson says, only in Africa this nonsense can happen. Shame on to him. I don't think he can go for his money. Wallace Abdul says, TB knows that Banku will beat the demon out of Powers. Wilson Ayes says, ha ha ha, chia, Aite shege, you they run. Banku go power you. Andrew says, he's laughing. He says, Aite ga masa one try cry. Ebenezer Kojo Anoka says, Aite Powers is a gargantuan coward who has just run away with his tails in between his thighs from Bukom Banku. He should be banned by the Ghana Boxing Association. Alan Kojo Novienwu says, hey, so TB Joshua has succeeded in confusing Aite Powers. He and TB Joshua should be sued. Antonio Karaki says, I believe Aite sees April 18 as bad day for him to fight, but it is shameful to quit the fight on spiritual grounds. He is not professional. Cry. Answer Justice says, hey, I did shock safe. Spiritual father indeed. Fire burn them all. Dauda Idris says, what can come, can come. Now is the quote of the day, I guess. Ruka Mohammed Kamal says, I think Aite just wanted to use Bukom Banku to be famous. Adade Bright Hillary says, Aite Powers is a coward. How can Banku frighten him? He should spare TB Joshua. Ishaku, you are just shouting, coward, coward, coward. Bukom Banku for life. More vim. Them hear you. Jeremy Alvin Constant says, obedience is better than sacrifice. So I understand Aite. Whilst Julius Jeremiah Dozie thinks he should be banned and fined. Meanwhile, Mba Anthony Bashiru says he should be spiritually sick. Bless Ofwe Amankwa says, I'm disappointed in Aite Powers. This clearly shows that if he ventures to fight on that fateful day, he will lose. Anyway, who are we to judge the powers of God? Long live Bukom Banku. Yusuf Mohammed says, Bukom Banku for life. So these are some of your comments. Quite interesting there at Let's see. So I really have enjoyed this topic and the conversation with you. I hope that I don't know if you would come back with another idea, change of mind, but Steve,
I can't say anything.
You can't say anything. But so, would you want to answer your own question? Would
no, but I asked you the question. You didn't answer. You put it to the public. But I actually liked Sarah. You know Sarah out there saying Bukum Banco. That's very nice. I love to hear her speak. But well, no, I maybe on a special grounds I might stay off work if my pastor asks me to. But
no, your pastor, your spiritual father.
Spiritual father. But your spiritual father is your pastor, isn't he? Anyway, so that's how we wrap, and you have to stay tuned and watch Israel Live bring you more news on News at 8. My name is Stephen Anti, and thanks for staying with us on today's big story and the interactive segment.
My name is Gladys Osei Uridi. Thanks so much.
Right, stories you should expect actually, that the disability, physical disability. We have a story in which a 6-year-old girl at Winchi who was denied education because of her physical disability is still not in school. Officials of the Winchi Municipal Office say they're still investigating her case 1 month after we broke the story. Meanwhile, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, which had taken up the matter, appears to have come to some conclusions which are not supported by facts. So our reporter will bring you more of this on News at 8.
We'll also take you to Parliament, where a motion has been moved by the Majority Leader on February 13, seeking to direct the Minister of Health to review the health insurance capitation program currently being piloted in the Ashanti region. Stay tuned for the details during News at 8 right here on the same channel.
And thanks for staying with us.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Good evening.